So, show of hands, how many of you have used Copilot, ChatGPT, any other AI tool, looked at the blank box, and then quietly closed the app because you had no idea what to write? Well, that blank box that says ask me anything, that is a new doorway. And most people are stood on the wrong side of it. Not because they cannot learn, and not because they're not intelligent enough, but because the language around AI makes it seem as if there is a guest list. Machine learning engineers, data scientists, developers, people who can use words like orchestration, API, and inference all in one sentence, whilst the rest of us are still trying to find the login button. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Kyle. I currently work in technology, particularly around AI, which still makes me laugh a little bit, because at one point, I thought AI was super intelligent robots, just like Terminator. I dropped out of college. I didn't have the best grades. And for a long time, I thought opportunity had a guest list and that my name wasn't on it. So, when AI became a hot topic, I had that familiar instinct. Maybe this isn't my lane. Maybe I'm not technical enough. And maybe someone else should be leading this. And I did confidently in meetings. I went home and Googled all the acronyms: LLM, DL, AI, OCR. Everyone was speaking fluent alphabet. And honestly, whilst they were saying things like AI, ML, and DL, the only thing going through my mind was HELP. But then I stepped in, I leaned in, not as the expert with all the answers, but as someone who was willing to learn quickly, help others learn, and help them make sense of the change. I remember running an AI workshop with senior professionals from tech and consulting firms. And when we first started, everyone was using the tool very cautiously, very polite. Please help me create an event for X date. And at first the answers were just fine, quite generic. And everyone done that, polite nod. But really, they was thinking, what on earth is all this hype about? And those generic answers, that wasn't AI failing. That was the equivalent of someone trying to order a 3-course meal by saying, I want some food. But then, something in the room changed. As we started to iterate, as people pushed back and added their context, we started to notice that AI, confidence with AI, is not something that comes from having all the technical knowledge. It's something that comes from using the tool repeatedly with your judgment. Waiting is no longer neutral. Waiting is actually a professional and personal risk. So, practicing that is how you will practice a shift from just being a spectator to becoming a translator. So the question to ask yourself isn't, am I ready? That keeps the focus on what you lack. A better question to ask yourself is, how do I operate in a world that is moving faster than my confidence? So here are 3 behaviors that you can adopt today to shift your mindset. Firstly, participate early. Not when the tool is perfect, not when you've been to every event and can describe every model and feature. But start now. Start with one task, a document, a meeting, maybe a messy idea, and then use AI. But use it as a thinking partner, not as a replacement, but a thinking partner. Ask it to help you learn faster, simplify complexity, or maybe spot what you may have missed. Then check it, improve it, add your context and notice what still needed you, a human in the loop. Second, translate the work, not just the tool. A lot of people start with AI and ask, what can this technology do? But translators, they start with the work. They start with a human problem and then they ask better questions. Where are people losing time? What is repetitive? What may still need a human to review it? Because AI, without context, that is something that's just capability. AI with context and with your judgment, that is when it becomes super useful. And translators bridge the gap to action so that everyone understands what is happening. Third, Keep judgment in the loop. Some people fear AI completely. Others, they hand too much over to it. But the opportunity is in the middle. You don't want to ask AI to do your job for you. You want it to help you do your job better. Then you bring the questions back in. Is this fair? Is this accurate? What context could be missing that I could be adding? Because the value, it's not just in getting an answer. Anyone can go on an AI tool, ask a question and get an answer. And it's likely it might not be correct. But the real value is in knowing what to do when you get the answer. And that's humans leading AI work. And we need more people and more voices in the room to ensure it's operating and working as it should be. So I'm going to give you something practical now. Let's call it the translator test. I want you to practice this every week, and I want you to start with one task. Start with a critical task, something that you do repeatedly, either in your professional or personal life. And then I want you to use AI. Use it to create, learn, and improve faster. But then don't just trust the output. This is where you need your context. This is where you need to push back and question it. And then finally, once you've learned, share this lesson. Share it with colleagues, share it with friends. That's one task, one judgment question, and one shared lesson. And by practicing this, you are practicing the shift from just being a spectator to becoming a translator. And every time you test, improve, and add your context, you will notice what still needed you, a human in the loop. And you are proving that you can still work with the change and be a part of this AI future. There is a younger version of me who thought that dropping out was the end of the story. But what I've learned, particularly with AI, is that confidence and readiness, it's not something that arrives before the moment comes. Readiness and confidence are built in motion. And right now, people are deciding whether they belong and whether they're ready for the AI future. So, I challenge you, don't wait for the tools to be perfect. Don't wait for confidence to arrive fully formed. Step into the room, use your tools, and you can be the translator the future is waiting for. Thank you.